Good Monday morning, everyone. Now, I'm sure you can't read that very well, but this is one of the illustrations in the little part of the chapter we're going to read today. This is just a chart of the Hebrew alphabet with the name of the letter, the meaning of the letter, and the number of the letter, and a few other little bits of information. There's also a couple other illustrations about gematria and tamura and things, and notericon. There are little illustrations like that. So while I'm reading today, we're not going to be able to actually see all of these little wonderful charts that the book has. Even the Kindle one has these charts. There's the Kabbalah of the 9 chambers. And but anyway, I thought I'd show that to you right at first, so I don't have to be constantly holding up the book to show you all of its wonders and charms. But anyway, in case you need reminding, we're reading my 1997 Angels, Demons, and Gods of the New Millennium, Musings on Modern Magic. I hope you all had a great weekend. Constance and I survived our weekend. Actually, it was rather pleasant, and the air is starting to clear up a little bit from all of the fires, but the fires are still going. So we just talked a little about the Tree of Life yesterday, and we ended up by saying there are many other ways that the Tree of Life is utilized to illustrate the divisions of the Kabbalistic universe. But let us now turn our attention to some of the techniques and exercises that have traditionally been used to induce the exalted states of consciousness whereby the mind of God can be tapped. And I'm starting off with gematria. Now, please know that all of the Hebrew words that I speak are probably incorrect. As a matter of fact, they're incorrect to somebody. And so let's just be satisfied by thinking there is no correct Hebrew pronunciation. Embrace that. Be proud of it. Of course, there's correct Hebrew pronunciations of certain dialects, and those are correct, okay? But Kabbalistically speaking, and for the purposes of Hermetic Kabbalism, pronunciation is irrelevant unless it's part of your own idea of magical art form and words. So please forgive me. I'm sure any way I pronounce a Hebrew word, somebody will think it's incorrect. And so please accept my apology right now. Gematria, even the word, you want to call it gematria? Go ahead. You're a chicken Kabbalist. Gematria. By tradition, the 22 Hebrew letters form a sacred alphabet by which God created all things. God said, pig, P-I-G, and there was pig, but don't touch. This alphabet in sacred language God purportedly gave to the angels, and the angels gave it to Adam. All things in heaven and earth are expressions of these divine letter numbers, and vice versa. If we could examine any object under a magic microscope, we would see them, meaning the letters, in infinite combinations and ratios as the fundamental components. Likewise, if we could back up and view the totality of the cosmos with a telescope with a magical wide-angle lens, these same letters would circumscribe all functions of matter, energy, and consciousness. Each letter has a specific definition and can be interpreted in a number of ways, mundane or abstract. Moreover, each letter is a number and embodies the mathematical truth inherent in that number. As these living letters are combined to form words, the words assume a numerical life of their own and can be interpreted by examining the relationship with their component letter numbers. Also, words and phrases that equal the same number mutually define each other. And there's a footnote here when I said define. These co-definitions are seldom obvious. As example, the word for love, aheba, and the word for hatred, aleph, yud, bet, both add to 13. This is not problematic for the Kabbalist. Like the student of Zen who solves the puzzle of a Zen master's koan, the Kabbalist eventually resolves all seeming contradictions by transcending the limitations of the logical mind. That's the end of the footnote. Everything in the universe is thus connected to everything else by means of an endless chain of self-referential correspondences. The 22 letters are divided into 3 categories. The 3 mother letters, aleph, mem, shin, representing respectively the 3 primal elements, air, water, and fire. 7 double letters, bet, gimel, daleth, kaf, pei, resh, and tav, representing respectively the 7 ancient planets or planetary spheres. Mercury, Luna, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, Sol, Saturn. And the 12 simple letters, He, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Lamed, Nun, Samak, Oyin, Tzadi, and Kuf, representing respectively the 12 signs of the zodiac, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Table 1 on page 26, which I just sort of showed you on my Kindle, outlines the numerical value and the traditional meanings associated with each of the 22 Hebrew letters. To see how the system works, let's briefly example a simple Hebrew word and discover just in a few of its qualities by means of gematria. Do not be too quick to dismiss these musings as aimless flights of mental masturbation. Remember, our goal is to connect everything in the universe to everything else. Not even puns are off limits. No avenue of exploration is too dumb, and I spelled that DM, to consider. The Hebrew letter for blood is DM, Daleth Mem. Daleth, or D, equals adore, and Mem, M, equals water. Keeping in mind the fact that blood is primarily made up of the same components as seawater, it's not surprising that we find the letter M in the Hebrew word for blood. D, Daleth, means door, and when we combine the two ideas of door and water, we open up a floodgate of things to meditate upon. Water is the door to all life on this planet. Without water, life as we know it would never have developed. Without water, life cannot be sustained. Mammals, before we cross the threshold of life, float in a sea of water fed upon our mother's blood. From the male perspective, the source of life is also a water door, the meatus of the penis through which the living water of male fertility spurts and passes through to the female gate of life. It is no coincidence that semen is often referred to as blood in alchemy, magic, and Kabbalah. Because the concepts of mother and father have developed so easily from our first meditations of DM or blood, let's dissect these Hebrew words and see if we can discover collateral meanings. The Hebrew word for mother is am, Aleph Mem. Now, Aleph equals ox. At the time of the formation of the Hebrew alphabet, the ox that pulled the furrowing plow was a supreme architectural symbol of fertility and life-sustaining power. The letter Aleph is the letter of breath, and the only vowel in the Hebrew alphabet. Spelled in full, Aleph, and spelled in full would be Aleph, Lamed, Pei. It enumerates to 111, 111, the ultimate Kabbalistic expression of unity. Mem equals water, of course. Am, or Aleph Mem, could be interpreted as the water of the creative energy of life. In reference to blood, we might interpret this to be the fluid component of plasma. The Hebrew word for father is Aleph Beit, Ab, A-B. Aleph, of course, means ox, but bet means house or container. We might interpret the combination of these letters to mean the dwelling place or container of the creative energy of life. This could indicate the corpuscle components of blood or even DNA. Combined, the words for mother and father, Aleph Mem for mother and Aleph Beit for father, equals 44. And so does DM, the word for blood. Mother, father, 44. Blood, 44. 44 is a very interesting number for blood, and we would be poor Kabbalists indeed if we didn't continue to examine the correspondences and investigate this number. Other Hebrew words adding to 44 include AGM, a pool, sorrow, GVLH, a prisoner, captivity, LHT, a flame, and the words for the zodiac signs of Aquarius, the water bearer, and Aries, the ram whose blood replaced that of humans as acceptable to the sacrifice of God. That's referring back to the story of Abraham and Isaac. We could draw endless connections just with these words alone, but let's look at the number 44 itself and see what it might reveal. Prime numbers have a special significance in gematria because they are invulnerable to division. The prime component of 44 is 11. So naturally, Kabbalists would first examine 44, expressed as 4 times 11. The Hebrew word for a hollow vein is spelled bet, BB, 4. And the word for circulatory movement is chet gimel, 11. Not bad, eh? Now, if we introduce the letter of breath, aleph, to DM, blood, we get Adam, ADM. Quote, and the Lord God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul, unquote. Adam adds to 45, the source of all numbers. 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 is 45. Adam is also the character who God allowed to name all living creatures. In other words, he gave them their letter number identities. Do you think he spoke Hebrew? Okay, that was a brief look at gematria. The next game Kabbalists play is notericon. That's spelled Notaricon. There are two ways the technique of notericon can be applied to Kabbalistic examination of words and phrases. The first method is to take the letters of the subject word as representing the initials of a full sentence. Perhaps the most famous example is Bereshit, the first word of Genesis, commonly translated in the beginning. Now, taking each of those letters, B-R-A-S-H-I-T-H, and expand it into a full sentence. In Hebrew, it has been translated or interpreted as, in the beginning, the Elohim saw that Israel would accept the law. Of course, but that was in Hebrew letters whose initials were Bereshit. Now, the shortcomings of this exercise are obvious. For while the above sentence, in the beginning, Elohim saw that Israel would accept the law, it may have profound meaning to the Kabbalist who's an Orthodox Jew. The Christian Kabbalist might prefer Prosper Roger's interpretation, and he translated those letters into Hebrew, which translated, "When the Master whose name is Jesus shall come, ye shall worship." Then again, the Diabolists might argue B-R-A-S-H-I-T-H really means Bereshit ra Asmodei Shik Blu Israel Thechlom, which the Diabolists would interpret, in the beginning, Asmodei, the demon king, saw that Israel would accept hallucinations. In the early days of my formal magical training, my teacher, in an attempt to ascertain my skills in notericon, challenged me to squeeze the pearls of wisdom from the letters of my own name. The following was my brash attempt at profundity. Quote, Lon Milo DuQuette is not really a name at all, but the initials of three famous Rosicrucian axioms of perfection. Love of Nuit, that's Lon, okay. Love of Nuit, manifests infinitely. Life obscures death's unanswered questions. And then for the rest of my name, the U-E-T-T-E, I couldn't think of anything profound. So I just said, unknown Egyptian took 2 enemas. So Lon Milo DuQuette, love of Nuit manifests infinitely, life obscures death's unanswered questions. Unknown Egyptian took 2 enemas. I thought 2 out of 3 wasn't bad. But my teacher was not amused. The second method of notericon is just the opposite of the above. Instead of expanding from letters of a word, the first letters and or finals of a word, of a sentence or phrase, are gathered together to form words. Ceremonial magicians will think immediately of a rarita, a notericon created word formed from the initials in Hebrew of the sentence. One is his beginning, one is his individuality, his permutation is one. Applied to my name, Lon Milo DuQuette would be reduced to LMD and dissected and examined for meaning. In this case, LMD is the spelling of the 12th letter of the Hebrew letter Lamed. So that's why there's Lamed Ben Clifford, guys, if you haven't put those things together. Lamed, it enumerates to 74 and means ox goad, and has an expanded meanings relating to learning and teaching. The prime of 74 is 37, a very important number in Kabbalah, for it's the number of Yechidah, the highest principle of the human soul, the Atma of Hindu philosophy, and the germ prime for the 3 digital master numbers. So 37 is the root of 111, 222, 333, 444, 555, 666, 777, and 999. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to talk about the 3rd game Kabbalists play, which is Timura. I think we wouldn't have time to actually do that today, but it's something we can pick up for tomorrow. In the meantime, excuse me, have a good week, everybody. And continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Hey, I want to show you one of Constance's new paintings over here. And it says, truth brings forgiveness, brings justice, brings peace, brings truth. She calls it the mechanics of love. She's been busy painting this entire pandemic, and I've tried to let me show you these things. So if I'm good, we'll see more of them. Okay, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Have a good Monday, everyone.